Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Pisces. If Pisces is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, knock, knock, knock. And you might have looked over here and saw this card already. This might be a heavy reading. I'm just going to say that from the beginning. And what you're looking at over there is and let me actually just pull it up real quick. This is the Death card from the Thoth deck. Okay, and as you can see, we have Death wearing the crown, holding the sickle, and, kind of in this landscape. It's looking a little bleak, right? Some transient spirits and different different creatures of the deep, right? So, and also I've never really noticed that. It looks like there's a datura flower right there, which is kind of a delirium. And so anyways, yes, the Death card can be startling, right? In popular culture, when it comes up, it's always, somebody's going to die, or, I just think of movies where it's always like either the lovers, the hanged man, or the Death card, pretty much. But let me just say that it is almost never anything about physical death, okay? And quite honestly, I don't know that I would even do a reading that involves somebody dying in your life. That's, maybe somebody who has passed away, but never, that's not my place to talk about such things. Unless, it was a private reading and you asked me to help you kind of unpack some feelings or something. But ethically, we don't talk about somebody who is going to die. I think that's, one of the things you just don't touch. But let's get to the point, Lenor. The Death card, I actually revel in the Death card. I think that it is a wonderful card. It is a sign of metamorphosis, a death and a rebirth, a new beginning, a swift change, right? The end of something, yes, difficult. I'm not going to lie. Endings are hard. Change is hard. But it is the beginning of something new. Okay. And usually, I think of it as, and as you can tell, I'm, one of my patron goddesses, deities, is Kali. And so, I'm all about this build and destroy, the devastation of loss, the tilling of the soils, getting things ready to be planted once more. This is the cycles of life, right? And we have many endings in life. So let's get to these tea leaves. I think that there's going to be some changes coming up for you. So let's see what are these changes. Okay, Pisces. Okay, and I'm seeing this beautiful deer, one of my favorite formations. And then we have, and let me bring this up here. This is another deer figure. This is more along the lines of like a spirit, a spiritual leader, kind of a forest god, that kind of wild beast. God that is kind of amoral, ecstatic, brutal, right? You think of, well, if you've ever, I think kind of, right, that movie or that TV show Hannibal, if you've ever seen that. There's just kind of this beautiful stag with the long horns, just, big, strong, virile. The eyes are ablaze. Just this confronting image of the kind of wild and sacred animalistic archetype that, you go into the forest on a little walk and suddenly you're confronted by this, primordial, this just fully operating off of instinct kind of force, very just potent, okay? And so let's talk about that. You have some deers, and I really think that there's a big opening happening for you as far as going forward in a more solitary manner. And it doesn't necessarily mean if you're married, you're leaving your spouse or the person that you are coupled with, or people that you are coupled with. I don't know what it would be called if they're like... It's not coupled because it's more than one, but okay, you get my point, right? If you're seeing a variety of people, or you have a relationship that is, there are more than one set of partners, right? Okay, so anyways, let me not get myself into a corner. I don't always know what I'm saying here. I think that this particular energy, and in my opinion, there is an aspect of merriment, and this is kind of almost like that bacchanalian, like ecstatic drunkenness, the dancing and gnawing at the meat, the raw bloody meats, and drinking the wine, and the nymphs, and the kind of pan type creatures, the satyrs, and just this kind of madness happening, right? This energy that's very palpable, okay? But then you kind of have this part of that energy that is, interestingly, I'm thinking about, it's kind of the thing that surrounds all of that, the merriment. If you think of the merriment happening kind of in a clearing, this is the energy that is kind of the outlier. This is the energy that flows through every shrub, all of the underbrush, the trees, the little animals, you hear but you don't see. Just that feeling that when you go into a forested area and you look up and you can see the sun kind of glimmering through those high canopies, you have that feeling of being in like a cathedral, right? And this is the energy of this God, okay, of this archetype. And this is not something that, like many of these higher expressions of divinity, these are not things that we experience with anybody else. There are ways, sure. Okay, there are paths and there are techniques and moments where there is crossover with other people of physical forms, corporeal bodies and such. But there are some things that you can just experience on your own. And I feel that something has been going on in your life that is kind of setting you on this path of being a bit more solitary, especially spiritually, emotionally. Okay. I see that there's this crescent moon. I feel that you are very much being protected by the goddess. I also feel that you have a very, almost very like, there's like a precise precision about cutting off any kind of nonsense right now. You have that brutality for anybody who is wasting your energy. Okay, just not having it, not listening to it, not here for it, and not entertaining it. Okay, and I think that you are, it's just, I see the squared shape here. The building of the foundation, the building of the temple is occurring. And really, really just, I feel a sense of being able to breathe. I feel a sense of a lot of heaviness coming off of kind of your vision, your psychic space. Okay. And I think, and I'm looking over here because the gaze is this way, and I see this figure. It looks like a human form in kind of a seated position with this phallic shape. Okay. So for me, this is definitely kind of like a masculine energy. This is somebody who has been in your emotional space for a long time. I think that they have felt that they kind of had the rule of the roost of your heart space, of your mind space, your emotions, and probably your resources. I feel that, and I get nervous thinking and talking about these things. I don't like to, I really am a person that I will say what I will say what I see, and I will say, what I perceive to be honest about whatever situation. I also don't like hurting people's feelings. I don't like making people feel upset. You know what I mean? So when I get into these readings and I start to see things that are difficult, right? Especially if I know that there's a lot of love, okay, on your end, especially. But I think that what's been going on is that this person has been kind of in and out of your life. I think that they kind of have almost masqueraded themselves as being a close friend / somebody who you connect with maybe physically, emotionally at times. But they really have a very hard time applying themselves. I feel that there is kind of a lot of inconsistency. I feel that, it's almost kind of, I feel like they are a person that makes a lot of promises, kind of leads people on a little bit. And I don't know that it is necessarily a conscious thing that they do, though I do think they are manipulative. And if that is just something that they have kind of developed to be able to survive and find resources, or if they are like truly a sociopath, or you know what I mean, like somebody who is really out here using people in very, kind of just doesn't care, all for self kind of person. Okay. But I think that there's just a sense of this person being, I don't want to say that they're like morally bankrupt, but it comes to mind. Let's just say that. I don't want to say that they're spiritually bleak, but it comes to mind. This is a person that hasn't spent a lot of time working on themselves, and I feel that they really just have strung you along in a lot of ways, okay? And I don't know that you have ever actually been in a relationship with them. Maybe you have. But I feel like this is almost like somebody who's a good friend that you have had feelings for. And I get the words in my head of like kind of an unrequited love, or just kind of like they know that you care about them. They know what they're doing to you, but they don't care necessarily. They think that they care in the moment, that they love you, and maybe they do. They maybe have good intentions for you and think that, they do love you and you are a great friend and they do care for you, but they just are not a well person in the ways that you need them to be. And that could be so, right? There are a lot of undeveloped people. There are a lot of people that have a lot of pain. A lot of people who exist in, relationship after relationship, or they have overlapping relationships. And I don't know that it's always because they, are trying to be, and this will show you how old I am, but what we used to call them are players, right? It's not necessarily because this person is a player, although that could be that. But I think that they just don't know how to be alone. But they also just don't respect other people's feelings or well-being. And that's a big problem. And so I think because you are a very empathetic, a very, very spiritually driven person, emotional, a developed person, I believe, and especially because I'm seeing these signs. And I want to talk about this big deer in just a second here. But because you have these most sacred signs, sacred symbols coming up, the lunar, the forest, the temple foundation, you are somebody who is only probably just in the beginning of your spiritual evolution, and you're already like this magnificent creature, right? This most sacred being. And, I'm sorry, whoever this person is that's in your life, but they don't deserve your time. Okay? For real. And it maybe feels very painful right now. And I know that they have their hooks in you to some degree. And I know that you are being strong and you're saying, not anymore here. I don't have the space. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy for this anymore. But you know what? In a couple days, in a few weeks, couple months, whatever, I think this person's going to be coming around. And it's messed up, but kind of, funny. As I'm saying this, I'm seeing this like sad face right here with the nose and the mouth. And then I look over here and I just see the same thing. Same kind of face. Just staring at me, just like a little puppy. But they're not a puppy. They're, this is a person who's doing dirt. And this is a person who is not there for you when you need them. Okay? And you know what? This has been the theme of a few of my readings lately. If you've watched any of the other ones, I don't know what's going on, but a lot of people are really falling short of how they treat other people. And I feel like we, us here at the channel, the people that are watching these videos, we're kind of all huddling together to get away from this stuff. Okay? Get out of here. It's not okay. You know, it's 2023. We're on a whole new wave, okay? We're going to treat each other right. We're going to respect one another. We're going to honor each other's sacred being. And just be real, right? That's all it takes, is just to be real with somebody. No more stringing people along. No more being strung along. It's over with that. That's my opinion. Okay, so we have the sacred deer showing up. And this is, that kind of talked about it a little bit with the Hannibal kind of imagery. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. If you haven't watched the show and you kind of like scary stuff, and it's, you know, a little disclaimer, it's pretty gory and has some difficult themes in it. But it's a great show, okay? And my husband loves it. He's obsessed, I think. Shout out to Dove and Serpent Tarot over there. You can tell by the set that I've designed a couple times for him that was one of his, you know, kind of vision board things that he had for me was, you know, kind of a Hannibal aesthetic a little bit. And go over there and check out his videos and you can see what I'm talking about. All right. So this deer is, it's very confronting, okay? But this is like, it's not necessarily like the shadow, exactly, but it is something that is uncontrollable. It is something wild. It is something that can be dark. It's something that can be very brutal, but it's also very fertile, very, a sign of abundance, good health. If you think about these beautiful deer just kind of leaping and bounding and just so gorgeous. I mean, it's breathtaking to see a family of deer, a grouping of deer out in a field or out in the forest somewhere. If you've never come across it, you know, you can see videos of it and that's pretty, but if you've seen it in real life, if you've, you know, if you're lucky enough to have them come into your yard and eat all your dang flowers, you might not think they're so beautiful then, but they are gorgeous, okay? So I really think that there's just this power in you. It's undeniable. And this is part of why this person is drawn to you. Almost maybe part of why they want to kind of dog you out a little bit in a weird subconscious way. Because some people that are like that use people, there's something about kind of dulling the shine of something so beautiful, so extraordinary, that makes them feel like a bigger person. And that's pretty disgusting, but it happens. And, you know, I think that a big thing that's, you know, you're going to have to be working on, not to tell you what to do, but I think it's about finding some self-confidence, doing some things that you really are good at and enjoying them. I see this beautiful symbol right here, and this looks like two rabbits, and they're kind of back to back. It's very symmetrical. You know, I think that there's just so much prosperity and potential for you right now, and I think that once you just kind of get rid of these lower dwelling energies in your life, it will open you up to a whole vast world. Just so many more things. You are going to notice so many more beautiful moments in your life. I think that it will, and here's the little heart, it allows you the room for more love, for better quality love. When you get stuck in a cycle of somebody who's taking advantage of you, but they're not like committing all the way. They're, you know, like these people, like you know, I'm your man or I'm your woman, but don't put it on Facebook, or don't, don't tell so-and-so, don't tell anybody, or, I don't know, something like that, right? I don't know I'm just trying to think of like the most modern like version of that or whatever. But when it's weird and like when they're trying to like probably run game on other people. And, we've all been there. And when I was young and I was, dating and stuff, I ran into some real, just, you know what I'm saying? Just real disrespectful people. And that it's unfortunate, but, it happens to the best of us. And there are plenty of fish in the sea if that's what you're looking for. I know a lot of these readings they have a lot of relationship stuff, but I'm not always just an advocate for, you're breaking up and you have to find somebody new or, whatever. Yeah, of course we all want to have companionship in our lives. So I hope for that need gets met for you. And actually, as I'm saying this, excuse me, I'm also just really thinking in this sacred deer that it looks like there's a little baby deer right underneath. And I really think that, this could even be if you have a child or this is that kind of real innocent, sometimes our inner child is wounded. This part of yourself that needs to be protected, that needs to be shown that they deserve better, that they deserve quality, that they deserve to be treated with the utmost respect. And if you think about it in those terms, it maybe makes it a little bit easier to really be like, hey, you're not going to treat me like that. I want to point out here, and I keep trying to get to it, and I start rambling. We have kind of the head of Anubis, okay, and the little arm. And if you don't know who Anubis is, it's the dog-headed Egyptian god. In this context, I will say that it's kind of more of the psychopomp. And a psychopomp is was a deity or any deity. It could be a deity. It could be some kind of, divine being, some kind of spirit, even could be in the form of some kind of practitioner, in a ceremony. So within like an esoteric system, they might do ceremonial magic, and then they have people who kind of embody these psychopomps. And this would be somebody who would take you, when you pass away, would take your spirit and usher you into a place where often you would be, kind of judged where you end up. Are you going to like the underworld? Are you going to like a heavenly place? It's different depending on the culture and the belief system, what those places are. But most importantly, I really do think that you have spirit with you. And I don't think that this is about a physical death, but I do think that this is about a process of letting this thing die. And then really, as you are separating yourself from it, looking at it and kind of weighing out your experience, how you were treated, how you felt, how did this impact you in a way that is going to help with lasting change. Okay. I think that, not only is it important to move on from this kind of treatment from this person, but to do the work to identify why this came to be. How were you able to kind of continually go in this cycle with this person, get on this kind of ride, this very unfortunate, roller coaster with them. And, hopefully not retain some of those behaviors or coping mechanisms or like an affinity for this kind of treatment from other people, right? So that you don't end up with like this person 2.0 and then it's like even worse. And, you're stuck in a new roller coaster, a new kind of hell with the next person. So as usual, almost every reading, I will say, if you have the privilege of, having therapy available to you or counseling, I really think that, or if you already are in therapy, it would be a great time to work on some of these issues, talk about this relationship, the dynamics of it in a way that's honest, that's going to hold you accountable and hold them accountable. If you don't have therapy available to you, which I get it, a lot of us, don't. Health insurance is really, really expensive, but online there are all kinds of different places to go. Be careful, be discerning of, the little, you just have to be careful about the kind of rabbit holes you go down as far as communities. But, I think on things like Reddit or Facebook, you can find people who are empathetic and supportive and even if you just read the stuff. For me, when most of my groups I'm on, it's like mom groups and stuff, or recovery stuff. I do like a lot of AA groups and things. I totally am a lurker. I read, and sometimes I comment, but, mostly I like to just read and kind of ingest some of the advice and experiences people have. And it really does help me have like a clearer picture especially when I'm in my emotions, which is often because I'm emotional. So that might be a good resource for you. Now, I just want to look at this beautiful, beautiful bird sitting on top of this. It looks like kind of a tree on top of a mountain. And I really think that you are going to be cruising up that mountain and, kind of just taking a moment to sit and look over the, vast lands that you have traveled. I really think that once you get out on the other side of this, you have some time and space between you and this person. It is going to be like, you look at it and it seems so small and in the distance. And, I think that oftentimes it's like it's almost like a deprogramming that happens. And it's like, how did I ever deal with this person? How did I ever, put up with this? Like, what was I thinking, kind of, and of course there are all kinds of things, all kinds of, especially if you have a kid together, my goodness, that's a big, I think that's often part of the picture, right? And financial things, that happens a lot too. I understand that. But I think that, at some point it's like, I gotta do something about this, right? And so I really think that, and I'm just trying to look at this one last little piece before this whole thing kind of like, it's getting real dry. And I want to, yeah. I forgot to point this out. There's a K and an A. So I kind of almost think of the Ka, which I think is the soul. I'm pretty sure in the Egyptian systems, it's kind of like the word for like the spiritual, in between like God and the physical, I think is the Ka. and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. But more than that, I think that this is a K person in your life, and maybe an A person as well. Or this is maybe like, it could be, I'm trying to think like Katrina or something. But it could also be initials, KA. Okay. I'm just looking at this part over here, and I just keep seeing it as like these mountains, and I really just see people like this kind of traveling up them. And I honestly, it all looks like, I think it's just so much related to this sense of really, really, climbing those mountains and those peaks and staying the course and doing that hard work and, advocating for yourself and all the things like that have to happen in these kinds of situations. And I really, my hope for you, Pisces, is that you kind of, uncouple yourself from this person, if it hasn't happened already. And, if you aren't coupled and you're, friends or whatever, and, it's just been this, I almost feel like it's just been going on for years, and you've probably even had other relationships, in between, and you kind of just find yourself coming back together with this person, and it's always with kind of like good intentions, but they just don't seem to have the same energy as you when it comes to being together. But I don't think that I think that they can get things out of you, and they don't have any kind of qualms about doing that. So I don't feel like this is a person that is really serving your life very greatly. So, I'm sorry to kind of have some poopy news or whatever, but I'm glad that, I'm not really sorry. I want you to get out of this because I know that there's so much on the other side. And just freeing yourself up from this, like, this cycle, this loop is going to be amazing. And I think just full of so much potential. So I'm not sorry, but I will say I do thank you so much for listening to this reading, and I appreciate you. I'm always so honored to bring these messages to you. I am going to start doing 2 readings a day, so that'll be each sign is read once a week. Okay, so Aquarius, Pisces will be towards the end of it, probably Sunday, I imagine. I'll have to look and see. I have to put everything on a calendar and kind of figure out how I'm doing this. But, yeah, so I thank you. Appreciate you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps me get into the algorithm. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. And hit the little bell button thing. It'll give you notifications for when the videos come out. You should watch your other positions if you're interested in that, or your other placements. And leave a comment. Let me know how you're doing. And hopefully, let me know if you are, gonna cut that person off and how you're doing with that. And I don't know. I just, I send all my love to you. I understand I have had to do it myself in the past, and it sucks. But, it honestly, for me, I ended up, in a really great relationship after. And so, I'm kind of a romantic and an optimist. So I really think that can happen for anyone else, right? Love is not luck. Finding a person that you love and can have a relationship is not just luck. It is work. You have to decide to make it work, and you have to find somebody who is willing to put in the work as well. You know, my husband, I love him. I think that we, are divinely connected, but every single day we have to decide to love each other. Every single day we have to decide to work together and, keep our family going and, not be angry with each other and not get annoyed with each other and to, make decisions together and be a team. And that's not like the sexy part of what we want to know about love or whatever, but that's the honest truth. So I'm an optimist, and I think that making room for somebody else to come into your life that wants to do all those things with you, for sure. Okay, Pisces, thank you. I'll talk to you again very soon.